As we know, our mother do many things for us, such as cooking food, washing clothes, taking care of all of us. The same way our father do so much hard work for our bright future. So today we are going to read a new chapter, and it's the first chapter of class 8th, and the name of this chapter is My Father's Letter, and it is written by Ruskin Bond, and it is adopted from his book Friends in Small Places. And as you know that Ruskin Bond is famous for his child literature. The same thing he has mentioned in this book or this chapter. And we can say it's a small biography of Ruskin Bond, and he mentioned his father's letter. And he kept it safe for a long time because this letter was the last letter of his father, and it was very important for him. Let's start this chapter. Ruskin Bond spent 2 years with his father, and these 2 years were very important and happiest year of his childhood. He also faced some problem, and he became stubborn and demanding at the age of 8. And his father became weak just because of malaria, but even after that, he did his best for his son. During the Second World War, they had to change their residence 4 times. At the time, they were in Delhi, and sometimes they have to spend their time in tent and hutment in the month of June, or we can say in the season of summer. And a small table fan was the only luxurious item they had. Writer's father was in Royal Air Force. His office was situated at India Gate. It was not possible for the father to keep his son with him. So the writer had to remain at home during the daytime. He had not any friend, but he had many things to keep himself busy during the daytime. He had his father's books, stamps, a gramophone, some records, postcards, scrapbooks, photo albums, and he used to play gramophones during the daytime. And there was a jungle just behind the tents, so it was a new opportunity for him to learn something. During the daytime, he had his lunch with a family living in a neighboring tent. But at night, son and father would eat together. Father used to cook his breakfast. Just because of World War, they had to move from one place to another. They moved from tent house to hutment to rented house or rented room at Atul Grove Road near Connaught Place. Connaught Place was a business center at the time. Father's superiors wanted to know why Ruskin's mother was not taking care of him because father kept him all the time. Father was happy for the end of Second World War so that father could send him back to England and put him in a good school. Father sold some valuable stamps and saved a lots of money in bank so that he could give better life to his children and he could educate them. Once an American collector bought several stamps and paid a good amount to his father. Writer learned from that incident that it was possible to make money out of one's hobby. He followed his father's footsteps when writing became his passion. One Sunday, Ruskin knew about old tombs and monuments. There were many cinema halls in Connaught Place like Regal, Rivoli, Odeon, Plaza. Father and son, both of they used to visit there to see or latest Hollywood movies. After some time, father felt that it was difficult for him to teach his son algebra, physics, chemistry. So father wanted to send him in a boarding school, and he thought that by showing too much picture, he could spoil his son's future. Ruskin said he could do better with his father, and he did not want it to become a chemist. He clearly mentioned it to his father that he wanted to become a dancer, and one of the main thing was that he did not want to leave his father alone. Father said his seniors were posting him in Karachi, so it was not possible for father to keep his son with him. He asked he would like to live with his mother. Ruskin denied and he was not interested to go to his mother. Father again asked him to go to his granny in Kolkata. He said that he did not know her. After that, father wanted to send him in a prep school in Shimla, and he said that after that time, sometime he would be posted over there, maybe in next summer. When he joined that prep school, his father was transferred to Kolkata. Writer's sister Ellen and Granny were also there. Father was unable to see him in Shimla just because of the distance, and but he wrote to his son regularly. The second World War was coming to an end, so Britishers were doing the preparation to leave India, and the same thing his father mentioned to him. And father wrote to him that father would send him to England so that he could continue his study in a good school. Just for it, he started selling his stamps so that he could collect some money, and he planned that after leaving his job in Royal Air Force, he would use that money for their better future. When Ruskin was in Shimla at the time, his father was in Kolkata. So his father wrote him his last letter, and this letter was very important for Ruskin Bond. So he kept it safe. In his last letter, Ruskin's father wrote about his health. He was not well just because of malaria, and he was not strong enough to go to work. He wrote about his daughter Ellen, his son William, and Granny. All of them were well. Father told Ruskin that he would send some warm cloth for him because Ruskin was in Shimla at the time. Father asked him what would he do during his vacation in September, and he suggested him for some works he could do. Father wished that he would see his son in Christmas holidays. Father wrote about his library and his stamp collections. And father also mentioned about book shops in Kolkata, and his daughter was also taking interest in books. Ellen was doing good in drawing, and she was able to draw elephants, tiger. Father also suggested him for handwriting. Father asked him to use big handwriting so that he could save his eyes for a long. Because in his last letter he wrote he used small words, and he tried to keep all the things in a one single page. So father suggested him that he should not think about pages whenever he want to express his thought. Father wrote that they had not a cook for a past few days. He wanted to appoint his old cook they had in Delhi. Father wanted to give all the things Ruskin had to his brother and sister, because now he was more than 8. Father sold many stamps so that he could collect some money, and other stamp he got mixed, so he had enough time to separate just because of his illness. After 2 weeks, Ruskin got the news of his father's death. He could never understand why God should have needed his father more than him. He did, unless, of course, invade his father's stamp collection. After reading this chapter, we can understand what was the role of Ruskin Bond's father in his life. He lived with his father only 2 years. But even after that, he played very important role, and these 2 years were very important for Ruskin Bond, and he called these 2 years happiest years of his life, or his childhood. So the same way we can relate this story with our life, and we can relate the same story with our parents, that was the role of our parents in our life. They love us unconditionally, they do all the things for us. Uh, they worked for us from our birth, and uh, their whole life they work for us. And so it's our prime duty to work for them and keep them happy. uh, Especially we should serve them at the end of their life. Now, after completing this chapter, it's your responsibility to complete all the questions you have in your book. Use pause button and see all the questions, and write all the answers in your notebook. You have MCQs, you have fill-ups, and question answers, short and long, you have to do in your rough. You can also download book by following given instruction at the end of this video.